Hello everyone. In today's video, I will be showing you how to perform the simple checkmates that could be losing you some games or drawing you some games that you really should have easily won. To perform the double queen checkmate, what you want to do here is to cut the king off like this. As you see here in this position, the two queens are cutting the king like this. So since the king can only move one square, it has to go to this side. And now you continue doing it. Check. Again, you see in this position, the queens are covering these two files, which means they have to keep running. And now we keep checking. Again, the queens are covering these two files, and you give a mate. With the king having I can't move. With the king having nowhere more to run because it can't go. It can't keep running. The next mate is the double rook mate. Now this is very similar to the double queen, except it usually takes slightly longer. So the idea here again is to cut the king off like this, make sure the rook's protected, and here we can just let us keep cutting. Now what we want to do, we want to move the rook as far away as we can from this king here. And as you see, our idea was to play rook a6, which would have been a check here, which would do the same thing as the two queens did, forcing the king to go back. Then we would keep going, doing the same thing the queens did. It'll go back. Then this is a checkmate. So let's play it out. We bring the rook, covering it up. Now here, be careful. If you play this, the rook is lost. It's still winning, but it's going to be much more annoying. Instead here, again, you move the rook very far away from the king. Now you keep doing the two file thing. And once we bring the rook over, this is checkmate. The idea here first is to cut the king off, and now you want to get the queen and king into knight opposition. So we play queen here. As you see here, if this queen was a knight, it would be a check. So that's what we want to do. Now, for basically the rest of the mate, you're just going to do exactly what the king does, which is copycat. So it goes this way, we go that way. If it goes that way, we follow it. That way, we keep going. That way, we go. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. And now be careful. Since it went that way, it's setting a trap. If we follow it, this would be a stalemate because the king cannot go to any of these squares, which would mean it's a stalemate. Instead here, we go slightly off, so now the king's only squares is to go back and forth since the queen covers these squares. So now what we do, all we do is bring the king to a square where it attacks the g7 square, and queen to this square will always be a checkmate. I will show you the checkmate over here. So what we're going to do, we're going to cut the king off like this. We get the knight opposition. Now we follow it. We just follow it. You just got to be careful of stalemates here. Again, here, if we keep following it, it's the other stalemate thing. So now it's time, since the king can only move through these two squares, it's time to bring the king over here, and this will always be a checkmate. First, just win the pawn. We want to get the king. We give it this check. We want to get the king right in front of the pawn. As you can see, with this check, with this king move, it was shielding our king from going forward. So now we give this check. Because here, the king either has to go back or go over here, which just leaves the pawn dead. So the engine played king e5. We bring the king up. And now we attack the pawn twice. There's no way it can be defended. Now we just take it. So now, this king is cut off. And what we're going to do here, we're going to slide the rook over. Now, since the king's here, if the king moved here, we can now play this check. Which now, as you can see, the king covers these 3 squares, the rook covers this file, which means the king has to go back to one of these 3 squares. So here, in this position, once they play king c5, we want to follow the king. Because again, if they come back, we force them to go back. So in this case, the engine just came back. So now we give this check. Now here, we keep that knight opposition. And then we keep doing the exact same pattern. Now here, we get the knight opposition, but now they're attacking our rook. So now we bring the rook over. As you can see, now if we move the king, like let's say here, they can keep going, and then we can't just follow them. So now here you play a waiting move. You keep the rook covering this file, and you just go here. Now they have to move over, and now we continue that pattern. So now we give that check, knight opposition, don't blunder the rook, waiting move, bring the king. And since now the king can't go back anymore, this will be a checkmate. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to practice these against the computer yourself, and I will see you in the next video. And don't forget to subscribe, leave a like, and comment down below.